What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Premodern video. We're going to be playing a league with a very interesting deck that we're going to be trying out, inspired by some recent results in the Premodern realm. So let's dive right in and let's see what we're going to be cooking with today. I present you Banned Lands. This is a very interesting deck that was inspired by a deck, an upheaval blue-green deck that showed up recently, one of the results from this past weekend. I thought that it was very interesting, but I was a little bit concerned about the deck's early game and its reliance on its engine. So what I tried to do, and I may be overstepping a little bit here, is I tried to do what I always do, which is to try to make decks a little bit less reliant on everything lining up perfectly and more being able to do their thing, just play normal game of Magic, and while still having access to that late game, sort of engine that can allow it to play a little bit of a more powerful game. So this is an exploration deck that gets card advantage through Gush, some Factor Fictions, and then a copy of Horn of Greed. We also have access to Oath of Druids as a way to play against aggressive decks. Of course, Oath of Druid into Shard Phoenix or Ancestor Chosen can be really strong against the aggro decks, be it goblins, be it something like elves, be it something like Born, of course. We're also playing some Swords to Plowshares, of course, and this is kind of what we're stretching into. The original list was straight up blue-green and had a late game of Upheaval plus Horn of Greed and stuff. So I decided to cut that angle in order to give me a better early game, so we have some interaction with Swords to Plowshares, and then obviously be able to cast an Oath and actually protect it, which the other deck could not. It was not playing any copy of counter spells for Mana Leak, so once you cast your Oath of Druid, you're just hoping that your opponent doesn't have an answer, which I was not super stoked about. We also have a couple of copies of Enlightened Tutor. This can allow us to put together our engine with Horn of Druid, or be able to get Oath of Druids or Exploration in play, while also allowing us to do something like get Scroll Racked in order to get back our Shard Phoenix or Ancestor Chosen in case that we were to draw it. So that's also an interesting angle. We also have a singleton copy of Seal of Cleansing that we can get off Tutor, and a singleton copy of Rare Revelation that we can get value from after we Oath into something, and then we mill the Ray of Revelation and we can do some stuff with that. So hopefully that will come up. That would be very exciting. We also have a singleton copy of Foil, a singleton copy of Wrath of God, and a singleton copy of Time Warp. The reason for Time Warp here is because we can assemble an actual loop. Once we get into the very late game, we have inevitability because we can Time Warp and then Blessing, Time Warp, and a second Blessing. And thanks to Horn of Greed and where is it? Undiscovered Paradise, this means that we get to basically draw the Blessing, the Time Warp, and just be able to shuffle the other Blessing as well, allowing us to have basically infinite turns. And from there, we can, win the game through Treetop Village, or through hard casting a Chosen or like a Phoenix and just swinging for 2 a turn. So it's fine. You don't need that hard of that strong of a win condition once you have assembled infinite turns, right? So in the sideboard, we have access to a copy of Chroma Angel of Wrath, which is of course very strong with Oath of Druids against certain strategies, namely goblins and Sly, and other stuff as well, like zombies, for example, is gonna really struggle against that game plan. Then we also have some a little bit of a pivot game plan there with some copies of Meddling Mage against a deck that can really play around our Oath angle. We can cut the Oaths and bring in Meddling Mages. This is something that the Parfait decks did back in the day while they still existed, and I always really enjoy that angle, especially against a deck like Shrimp, where having access to Meddling Mage, Oath of Druids is not super reliable. It's good, but it's not super reliable. Your opponent can play around it in a variety of different ways. Meddling Mage, on the other hand, is very good. I really wish I had room for the 4th copy, but I could not find room for it, but it is what it is. And then we have some redundant cards like Disenchant or like Annul against Artifacts and Enchantments, Hydroblast, Blue Elemental Blast, that kind of stuff. Then we have Crop Red and Furnace and Tormod's Grip. These, of course, have a ton more value when we have our copies of Enlightened Tutor. So those cards are obviously for very specific matchups, but they're really strong there, and they have a lot of power in those matchups as well. So having Enlightened Tutor really enhances the power of these cards. And then a couple of copies of Teferi's Response. This is against, obviously, Rishadan Port decks and, you know, all of the crazy Sphere, like Terravor decks of sorts. So this is going to be the deck we're going to be playing in this league. Thank you so much, Danny, for sponsoring this league. And yeah, cannot wait to cast some Oath of Druids and some Gushes and like draw a gazillion cards with Horn of Reed. So let's jump right into the action. Okay, here we go against the legend himself, Dave Kaplan. So this hand has Gush, has some stuff, but doesn't really have interaction. It's already a mulligan. So I think I'm going to go to 6. This one is better. So I get to bottom the Shard Phoenix, and we can potentially play an Oath on turn 2. Not sure what Dave is up to over there. But if he is on Dreadnought, which he often is, then I'm probably still jamming this Oath of Druids on turn 2 anyway. On turn 1. Turn 2, no. Oh, he's got the rest. So this is probably blue-black Dreadnought. So he's definitely going to take the Oath here. And then we can play from there. Yep, there it goes. Not a card I love, but it is what it is. It can also potentially allow me to find some lands, especially an island would be great. Also, this is now in play. Like in blue-black, I don't think Dave's going to have any answers to this. Underground River. So this means no days. Slamming combo on turn 1? Turn 2? Probably. Makes sense because I don't think it's really getting better for him. Yeah, just slamming it on turn 2. See what happens. Vision Charm. This means Oath. It's not going to be an out. Counterspell. We're going to rack here for 3. I guess we're going to leave up Gush. It's not great. So I guess we can tutor for Seal of Cleansing. So Horn on top. Counterspell on top. We're going to draw the tutor. We're going to play a second island because we may need to Gush next turn. Oh, I don't have double white. That's inconvenient. That's quite inconvenient. So we're going to take 12 here. So I guess I should have actually just played out the City of Brass there, huh? Okay, so I guess the out is to main phase Gush, then rack for the full amount and find specifically Seal of Cleansing. Main phase opt is good for me because it means that he probably does not have Counterspell, which is a Rotting Giant. Alright, so Gush. We know there's Counterspell on top and Horn. Then we play City and we rack for... Okay, there's Seal of Cleansing. So we want to keep... What do we want to redraw? So we have Island. I guess we're going to have to main phase Seal right now. We're going to get to redraw one of these cards. I guess I want to redraw the Island. Yeah, I think I want to redraw the Island. There goes that. Now Seal of Cleansing. Foil, right? Seal of Cleansing right now. And then we're going to draw the Island. Take 3, draw the Island, cast Oath, hope he doesn't have anything. I guess I can offer the trade. That may honestly be better than playing out the Oath. I guess I should have actually hid the Oath on top of my deck. That was the correct line. Because this line loses to Stifle. I guess both lines lose to Stifle, so I should go for the highest upside line. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I'm exactly at 1 life too little, so I cannot really play around stuff. So what I have to do here is just play the Oath, hope that we don't die. Main face ups. Yeah, I'm gonna get punished here by exposing the Oath that I didn't have to. No duress. So we lose to foil. We lose to days as well. So this is where it's at. This is what we can do, which is not too much, but it's okay. Yeah, days actually kills me. Funny thing, we would have probably won if we were exactly 1 more life. All right, so we like meddling mages. I kind of do like Phyrexian Furnace. Obviously, fan of Annul, fan of Swords to Plowshares. I do like Oath of Druids. Actually, do I bring it Oath? So the issue is that Shard Phoenix doesn't really do anything. Yeah, I think I'm cutting Oath. Cut the Oath package, bring in Meddling Mages, and I guess Disenchant, and I guess that's it. Could technically Oath into Akrama. That is somewhat interesting. But no, I think I'd rather go with this. Obviously, cut the Ray of Revelation. I don't think there's any enchantments they could have. Technically something like Engineered Plague or whatever, but this looks fine. I don't love the E-Tutors though, but I never loved E-Tutors anyway, so that's not something particular to this matchup. Game number 2. This is a pretty nice opening actually. Turn 1, Windswept Heath, Exploration, still have Blessing. We got Annul, although I guess we're probably not going to be annulling anything right now. Basic Island. Yeah, just going to pass the turn here, not really do anything. So... Get a white source. I guess we can just get stifled here. That would suck, but Mage through the ace. Not half bad, huh? Also, the Brain Freeze game plan doesn't really do anything, so we're just gonna name Phyrexian Dreadnought. If he plays a Giant on 2, could technically tutor for Oath. It seems so bad though. Not really into it. So if he cares about this tutor, he's just probably gonna take it here. So it's a pretty good opener. He could have Winter Orb, so I have to be wary of that. Takes the Blessing. Wow, super interesting. He may be on the Rotting Giant game plan. Nice. So it probably has like Smother, Vendetta, like a plethora of things. So I'm just going to go ahead and just name Rotting Giant, which would be the most annoying thing right here. Like Rotting Giant would actually blank both of my meddling mages on the offense. And here he still needs to... Great. Here he still needs to do some stuff, right? Like he still needs to like answer the mage, like work through my annul, and then through my tutor for Oath. And now we have a 4-turn clock. So I'm not gonna do anything here. This is one of the things that I was considering, just like having access to a Sylvan library could be kind of a big deal for this specific kind of situation. But I ended up cutting them for the 4th Gush. So 4 Gush and 2 Factor Fiction, which is quite a bit. So he continues hitting land drops. If I find any further lands, I guess I'm not going to do anything. Because like this is just gonna get countered. And I guess I'd rather just, and then like I have shields down from Annul and Light and Tutor. So I think I'll just pass the turn here and save this for potentially a Horn of Greed turn. Still nothing. I wonder if he has actually nothing or whether he is setting something up. So here we could just Time Warp through the ace and hold up Annul. Is that worth doing? Probably, because it forces him to have it right now. If he has any answers, he has to cast them now. But now he's at 2, so he actually has to kill both mages. Okay, so that resolved. So kill ya? Kill ya? Okay, got there. Okay, number 3. Once again, Meddling Mage doing good stuff. I just realized that I didn't have Oath. I should have a single copy of Oath for sure to tutor for. 100% mishap on my part. Oath probably better than Phyrexian Furnace, especially on the draw. I guess we bring in Chroma as the Oath target. This means we can Oath into a Meddling Mage, but we can just use it to chump block, so it's not the end of the world. No, I actually don't like it. Never mind. Yeah, so I guess not. Upon further consideration, not really a mishap there. Just not on the Oath plan. I don't love this Horn of Greed though, against the opposing Gush Days deck. Just not feeling that, you know? Last game of this set. This looks decent. Duress would be quite brutal here. That is for sure. Duress would do quite a bit of damage. And like you of course don't want to draw the Time Warp this early. Dave mulls to 5, 6, but he has the nut draw. Turn 1 portent. Exploration would be an interesting pickup here. Would give me something to do with my mana on turn 1. It's not quite what I was hoping for, but it's okay. So bring in, play the 1 City of Brass, ship the turn, it passes the turn back. Not a bad draw, not a bad draw at all. City and land drops, very much what we want to be doing right here. Playing out the island nullifies my own foil, but I think that's totally fine. It's pretty nice that this deck does not really get hosed by Sabos Web nor Winter Orb because of Gush. So that's quite cool. The Brain Freeze plan also doesn't really do anything, which is also quite nice. Main phase Gush. Okay, so I guess he may just be going for it here, because that's quite an aggressive main phase Gush. He needs to do something here. Otherwise he's just going to discard, he sets himself back by a couple of turns. Good old Portent. Portent and Shuffle. Interesting. He went with that. Duress. Yeah, that's fine. There's a world where he can just take both of my Swords to Plowshares here, with a Duress this turn, another Duress the following turn, and then put me in a pretty dire situation. We still have this Wrath of God. Oh, he goes for the Gush. Okay, so he wants to play a longer game, which makes sense. He's already resolved a Gush. Unfortunately, yeah, I was thinking about this. It's very possible that this should just be a Sylvan library. I would feel very, very far ahead if this were a Sylvan library right now. And on the contrary, I literally cannot play this out because my opponent has more land drops lined up than I do. So yeah, I heavily consider this, but ultimately went for Horn of Greed because obviously the card is too sweet. I mean, I'm gonna play it now. It sucks, but I'm gonna play it now. But obviously the symmetrical effect here is kind of a big deal. He may honestly not even counter this. Like, he knows he has at least 2 land drops. He's asking whether this counts lands being played from hand or actually entering the battlefield. Just clarifying that no, it counts only when the land is played from hand. So at least lands are good draws here, which is cool. Because of that, I don't really want to play out this Windswept Heath. I don't want to fetch with this Windswept Heath unless I have to. But now he's also going to be drawing a gazillion cards, which not super stoked about. Also still no second island. So I guess maybe I should just fetch, only for the reason that if I happen to find the basic plains, like, it's an absolute disaster. So I think I'm just gonna fetch on my upkeep just to make sure I don't accidentally miss a land drop. Okay, he's going to discard, so that's cool. I wanted to fetch on my upkeep precisely because of this. I don't want to give him the chance to use Stifle to take care of my land. So that was kind of best case scenario for me. Let's play out the City of Brass here. Throw a counterspell. Okay, we're cooking. The reason to not play the Forest there and to play the City of Brass instead is because if I find Scroll Rack, I can actually shuffle the Forest back into the deck. Very skillfully dodging all of the the actual islands in my deck. It is what it is. That's a nice pickup. Let's go for the Forest first. Annul. So I'm going to Time Warp here only because I'm going to be going to discard anyway. So I'd much rather just use this than not. If my opponent wants to counter it, that's totally fine because I have double Swords to Plowshares. So if they want to counter this, that's cool. If they don't want to counter it, also cool. Okay, never mind. Maybe this Horn of Greed actually don't work here. But if we get to exchange for a counter... Oh yeah, this is very good news for us. We got to trade for a counter spell there. Not even a Daze. Would have been a lot less excited about that if we had traded for a Daze. But the fact that we trade for an actual counter spell, pretty good for us. We are getting to the point where we just have too much good stuff though. So here we're going to be discarding something. I think I'm going to be discarding this Wrath of God. I'm going to assume that he just does not have Cabal Therapy. It's possible he does, in which case this is not great for me, but would love to be drawing something of substance. Once again, still no island. Furnace. Sure, that's actually pretty fine top deck there. Something that we can play out and just kind of sits there until the turn where we want to do something with it. So I'm pretty okay with that. We could technically be just playing out Undiscovered Paradise. Okay, so he opts on my end step. Then untaps. Rotten Giant. I think we just plow this. And I'm going to use the Undiscovered Paradise. Not only do I not take damage, but I get to continue drawing cards. Really looking for an exploration. Okay, so there's the land. Trigger on the stack. I'm going to fetch for a plains. Now we draw. Gosh. Not bad. Not bad. Let's exile over there. Oh, I guess we still don't have a second island. This is hilarious. So I'm just going to pitch the foil here. Duress away, my friend. Maybe I should have pitched the disenchant instead of the foil. I don't know. This is kind of awkward. So that's 2 Duresses gone. I'm not gonna cycle Furnace quite yet. Okay, that's not terrible. Well, the second one is a little bit more terrible. That's fine though. I think I'm just tutoring on end step. He may counter this because exploration is actually quite good here. Okay, looks like he just let it resolve. Draw a card, replay this, play exploration. That's a big draw. I imagine he counters this. Like, if this resolves, it's a very big deal. Especially with him knowing that I have a Gush in hand. It really feels like he has to counter this. Otherwise, my card advantage is going to be kind of insurmountable. I'm gonna start looping Gaia's Blessings. Eventually gonna find a Meddling Mage. He has a lot to fight through already. I wonder if he's just hoping to fight over Gaia's Blessings here. That would be kind of sick, actually. That would be next level. He just thinks that I don't have any Oaths and no way of shuffling back my blessings. So now I already have the next land drop. Maybe I'll just do it again. Get exploration. Going to lead on a land because I may find counterspell. Whoops, made a mistake there. It's no big deal. Play out the exploration. Once again, he kind of has to counter this one. He's taking a lot of time. Like, his clock is pretty low compared to mine. He really has to pick up the pace. That resolved, that's huge. Also, Treetop now starts to be able to allow me to attack. So now we're drawing 3 cards per turn, which is quite sexy. Potentially more. We need to get to a point where I have so many resources. And we're probably going to be discarding this Factor Fiction and the Gush. Okay, that's a good one. Can't protect it, but I think that's actually just fine. Let's name Phyrexian Dreadnought. Actually, let's name Smother. I kind of feel like Dreadnought is pretty covered. He was already discarding Dreadnoughts to hand size, so he definitely has quite a couple of them in hand. Fourth is actually a way that I can shuffle blessings back which is very nice. Okay, this Horn of Greed has, has drawn me so many cards. Gushes on my end step. That's fine. Oh, can he just Brain Freeze double Stifle? That would honestly be sick. I think he's going for that. I think he's going for Brain Freeze double Stifle, because that's really suspicious. Double EOT Gush. Vision Charm, mill me for 4. Dude, he's doing it. Mill me for 4 again. So there's Counterspell, Mana Leak. So I have 1 Counterspell, 1 Mana Leak left in the deck still. I do think that the right time to do this though is when I am out of things. Okay, so there's the Blessing. So there's exactly 1 Counterspell left in the deck, as is. Maybe I should have named Brain Freeze here. With him discarding Stifles, I didn't think that he had access to this, to Brain Freeze. Okay, so the Blessing trigger resolved. He's just saying in the chat that he threw it because it's the first time that he's casting Brain Freeze. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Stifle discard made me play as if he did not have Brain Freeze, so the bluff equity was high, I'm gonna say as much. Alright, see you for the next round. Round number 2. This hand looks fine, I'm going to guess. This is a mulligan to 6, but it's kind of a pretty decent mulligan to 6, so I think I'm happy keeping this. By playing this basic island on turn 1, it enables me to turn 2 hold up Counterspell, or if I draw an Oath, I also have the option to do that. I can also Gush in case of, you know, desperate times. This looks fine. Let's see what we're up against. Basic Island, Careful Study. So this is probably Madness, if I had to guess. It could be something spicy, but I'm gonna go with Madness here. Some pretty good card advantage that my opponent's got going on over there. 1 mana, draw 2. Definitely looking like Madness, and this is counter-worthy to me. Opponent can daze here, but nothing to be done there. That kind of sucks. Okay, so let's go with, I guess, a basic Forest. Pass the turn back. Opponent with a passing of the turn. I'm going to assume this is a Frantic Search for Arrogant Worm. I'm gonna play the base Flooded Strand here, because this can allow me to foil something. Oh, they do nothing. Alright. Let's get a Plains, and I'm gonna fall for right now. Looks like opponent may have a Counterspell. I could Gush foil, or I could just foil and let the Factor Fiction resolve. Yeah, I think I want to foil here. Pitching the Ancestor's Chosen. This is an interesting split. Opponent has no information about my hand. They don't know that I'm holding a Gush, so this exploration is pretty good for me. We also know they don't have Daze. If this is their split, I'm definitely taking the top half. Alright, you got a dog. So now we get to Exploration, into Gush, into Time Warp, which is pretty decent. But our Gush really sucked, so I don't know. We still are kind of in need of some help here. Yeah, that doesn't do it. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna play a land and say go. Only playing a single land because I'm planning to fetch, but I'm holding the other 2 because if I draw a Horn of Greed, I want to make sure that I can do some stuff with it. I mean, if that's all that my opponent's doing, if they're just pitching cards to a Mongrel, I'm okay with this. I think oddly enough, if they have Survival, I just let it go, just to use the Ray. They can draw a Rootwalla, I guess. Maybe 2 Rootwallas. But I feel like this Mana Leak's gonna be more valuable. Get another Squee. Interesting. Okay. I would have gone a couple of Rootwallas there. Get some board presence. Swords to Plowshares. Quite nice. Do that right now. And I guess I'm letting that resolve because I'm kind of scared of a hardcast Arrogant Worm. I'm gonna be taking some hits from this Rootwalla, I think. But that's fine. I'm just gonna be drawing 3 Squees here. I would have been a lot more scared if my opponent had gotten another Rootwalla instead of... I can kind of keep the Squeeze in check. They could have also gotten a second Mongrel. That would have been terrifying. But we can take 3 for a couple of turns. No problem. It's not what we're looking for. Not what we were looking for. Take another hit. Nice Wasteland. Yeah, I think this one I'm going to Mana Leak. If my opponent wants to counter back, then I still have the Ray. My opponent doesn't get any activations. Tap something good, please. Not quite what we were looking for. Send the turn back. If we draw a Horn of Greed, we're gonna pop off a little bit here. But we are on a 3-turn clock from this Rootwalla. We would have already been dead if there were 2 Rootwallas in play, though. Okay, that's lethal Rootwalla. Shard Phoenix would be sick. Bro, 1 turn too late. Punished. Punished for getting the stupid... for getting this stupid island. Although I guess I would have gone to 1 and then I would have lost anyway. Because I can't flip into Chosen. Chosen is in the graveyard. Man, that's really unfortunate. Alright. We want Furnace. Probably want a Chroma. That's a big question mark. Not sure whether this is a Tormod's Crit matchup or not. I think it's not. Do like Annul. I guess I have Seal of Cleansing and Ray of Revelation. Those are just better. Man, Scrollrack would have also been a sick draw. Forgot this was in the deck. I think I'm just gonna keep the same thing. Is Shard Phoenix even good? Is it better than Akroma? I think Akroma may be better than Ancestor Chosen. I may be wrong there, but we'll see. I'm willing to give it a shot. And I'm gonna cut an Enlightened Tutor. Yep, keep this one. I'm probably slamming Oath on 2, just to slow my opponent down pretty dramatically. Gonna Moles to 5. Wasteland my treetop. Sounds good to me. Damn it. I guess we're gonna need some Scroll Rack action. That's brutal. I know I could be jamming into days here, but I'm still going to do this, especially with my opponent playing a Rudwalla here. Yeah, so there's an argument for going for City of Brass, because that allows me to, if my opponent blows up my Oath, I can just untap, upkeep, go get another Oath, and then go from there. So definitely an interesting thought there. Survival. So we get to trigger Oath here. Target opponent. Yes, please. So we're just gonna gain 37. Don't think we really want to tutor for anything just yet. So we're just going to chill. We could play out the Horn of Greed here, and that can allow me to tutor for Exploration next turn. It also allows my opponent to draw a card. I think that's fine. They don't know that I have Akroma in hand. So they're gonna get to draw a card here for the trouble, but gonna get to draw a lot more cards from there. Guess my opponent could go get Uktabi or something, but that still gives me a turn of doing Horn of Greed stuff. Pass the turn. So I can go for Exploration here. I kind of want to Scroll Rack too. I think I'm just gonna let that resolve. And I guess I serve? No, because I allow them to mill, so I think I'll just chill. Maybe I should be respecting the survival a little bit more. Interesting. No fetch, no nothing. Definitely love to find a counterspell or a gush here. So let's fetch. And I guess that on end step I'm just going to E-tutor just to use my white mana. Let's play a land there. See what we draw. Another Oath. Not great. Play another land. Find a Blessing. Yeah, I guess I just don't shuffle anything. I think I just don't shuffle anything. I don't think I care about getting the tutor back into the deck. And I definitely don't care about the Flooded Strand. They can counter it if they want. Oh yeah, I'm super stoked about that. Yeah, I like this standstill that we have going on. Wonder. Wonder's a card. I kind of need to draw some stuff here. Like I'm comfortably winning the race, but damn, my opponent's drawing more cards than I am. So we do have a Plowing Hand still. Frantic Search, that's scary. Never mind, they just discard 2 lands. I do wonder if they have Swords of Plowshares, and then I'm just gonna get owned. Just gonna plow my Akroma, and I'm just gonna be very sad. Tranquil Domain. Sure, they blow up their own survival. Interesting strat. Okay. Draw, Mana Leak. Not bad, not bad. I think we just attack. Don't even play the Oath here. Opponent's studying carefully. I think we do counter that Worm. Wasteland's pretty brutal there. Okay, that's a good draw. Really good draw. Really, really good draw. I think I'm shuffling my graveyard. Definitely going to switch my sideboard. Like, I think I'm going to get rid of the Akroma. Another survival. Pretty good. Waterfront Bouncer. That guy is very annoying. Gonna go. Yeah, I feel like I misboarded. I should have access to. Definitely going to be cutting Akroma for the next game and bringing back the Phoenix. So let's shuffle the graveyard. Okay, play a land. Notably, we don't have Exploration anymore, so that part sucks. No activation of Survival on end step. I'm assuming that means they're trying to save some life, but they really want to get a Mongrel in play. It may also just be a misplay. Yeah, they did get the Mongrel. Careful study. Definitely countering the Mongrel here. I don't think we're picking up the Paradise. We may draw exactly the, what's his name, the Exploration, but we're also kind of not too far away from hard casting the Akroma. Just 1 mana away. Say no to both. Another island's not great. Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, let's do that right now. Mongrel's really scary. So next turn we finally get to hardcast this Akroma and try to attempt to go to town a little bit. Scroll Rack would have been a great draw. This one of Greed not as good as the one that we played against Dave. My opponent has not missed a land drop. Also, we kind of can't beat the Swords to Plowshares, which is a little bit awkward. Now Gush shows up 7 million turns later. Well, this is happening. Please don't have a Swords to Plowshares. Counter magic, we're fine with. Survival. Oh, don't tell me they have Gilded Drake. Oh, squee. Dude, Gilded Drake would be incredible here. Oh my god, Gilded Drake would be insane. Don't plow me, bro. I may honestly just have to Gush, hoping for foil. if my opponent does have a Swords to Plowshares. That would be really bad news for me. Opponent correctly destroys the Undiscovered Paradise. Survival. They're down to 18 cards. They just pack it in. Have no answers to a Chroma. Well, the Sharp Phoenix is definitely coming back in. I got really scared by that stupid... What's his name? Also, maybe Tomorrow's Script is just fine in this matchup. If the game is going to be going this long. I'm so skeptical of that though. Cut the foil. We're on the draw. I think I'm just gonna cut the seal. Nah, but that leaves me with only a single answer to survival. I probably want more. We just got the tutors. It's got the card disadvantage. This matchup seems very much about card advantage. Man, this hand is so weird. Opponent kept 7. And I guess I keep this. This is the awkwardest hand of all time. Okay, that's good. That's an island. Mongrel. Okay. Guess I should have led on this so I could plow the Wild Mongrel. Yeah, I feel like I messed that up. Definitely want the second island here. We already have green mana covered. I guess I can't allow my opponent to resolve a survival. So I'm just going to allow them to untap with Wild Mongrel, which is terrifying. Peach Squee. Peach Worm. So I guess we're going to counter this worm. We untap and plow the Mongrel. It's kind of nice actually. So now we got the Seal of Cleansing. Opponent has mana issues. Classic Wasteland. Classic Wasteland. That's not a bad pickup. Yeah, that sounds good. So let's play Exploration. Play out City of Brass. Play out Seal of Cleansing. Send the turn back. Hardcast Rootwalla. Not using Wasteland. Let's main phase this Gush. We may find Horn here. Oh my god. God damn it. Okay. Well, these sucks. At least we have counterspell, so we're not extremely scared of anything, really. Also, my opponent has an awful mana situation over there. They're tapping out of Wasteland, which suggests that they have no interest in Wastelanding me, which seems okay. I guess I run into Tranquil Domain here. I guess I shouldn't have done that. Forgot that they showed me that previous game. Come on, man, really? Send the turn back. It's kind of unreal. It's pretty wild that we just drew every piece of, like, every oath target. I don't like this attack, because, like, now I'm just time walking them. Obviously, if they're not using their mana for anything else, you know, it's kind of whatever, but now I just force them to use their mana. Also, just realized this does damage to creatures without flying, so it gets blanked by Wonder, which is hilarious. Hadn't thought about that. Dude, how brutal is this? How brutal is this? Just 1 mana away from a casting Ancestor's Chosen. 2 mana away from a Chroma. This is way too funny a situation. Pump. I honestly think I need to protect my life total here. I have to waste a precious Swords to Plowshares on a stupid Rootwalla, but if the deck continues to refuse to deliver, then I have to just make sure I don't get owned. Waterfront Bouncer. Yeah, that one's getting hard. Way too annoying. Oof. Gain 10 though. It's not the worst. Careful Study. So we're not super afraid of Mongrel. I guess we're medium afraid of Mongrel. We're not super afraid of Survival because we have the Seal already. Opponent finally decides to go after that. Okay, that one's a good draw. Man, this deck can be so clunky. No blessings drawn so far either. Maybe we just need the tutors. Maybe there's just no way around it. Another bouncer. Kind of annoying. But it is what it is. So I'm gonna play only 1 land once again because of Horn of Greed. But this allows me to just hardcast Chosen if I need to next turn. Never mind, they have Wasteland too. Okay, opponent does have Drake. That is an absolute disaster. They don't waste me. Oh please, don't waste me, bro. I can't believe they let me untap. That's such a big deal. That's such a huge deal. Wow. I think I would have lost the game, just straight up. Straight up would have lost the game if my opponent had Wastelanded my City of Brass. Like, this game has been insanely awkward. Like, everything about this game, everything about this game has been incredibly awkward. Kind of a disaster of a game, to be honest. Really showing the incredibly low floor this deck can have. I resolved 2 Gushes too. I resolved 2 Gushes and we're still in Clunk City. I'm not gonna expose the Oath, like my opponent's clearly holding up counter magic. Blessing. That's a way to force a counter spell, so let's shuffle the Chosen, shuffle the Wrath. Guess we're gonna shuffle, what, a counter spell? The problem is I don't want to expose this Oath to the Tranquil Domain that I saw. Continue to draw lands, not great. If we ever do find that Horn though, we're gonna pop off in a serious manner. So So this means my opponent can't really play creatures. Their clock is going down. Furnace is a nice pickup. Counterspell. Okay, that's fine. Just exchanged. Just traded a little bit there. Love that. So that tells me that they have... I'm gonna play out the land just to not go to this card here. That tells me that they actually have either multiple counterspells in hand or that they have the Tranquil Domain in hand and they're just waiting for the key turn to blow everything up. Because the fact that they did not do anything about the Oath, but they used the counterspell in the Furnace, definitely tells me that's what's going on. This is going to just force the Wasteland, but once again, we're going to be going to this card anyway. Opponent's got a bunch of squeeze, so going to this card here, but it's not a big deal. What is kind of a big deal though is the fact, okay, there's the Tranquil Domain that we were expecting. So Rudwala. Play another one of these, see if they have the answer. Resolves, very interesting. And let's play another exploration. Play a land and say go. Opponent uses the Wasteland and they untap. So they would need to have another Tranquil Domain here. Otherwise this Oath is popping off, which would be extremely bad for them. Reverent Silence Hardcast. That is something, that is a card. Am I killing this? I don't think so, because I guess if they pump, I'm killing it. They don't. Okay, so they do have another piece of counter magic over there. So that's a dead card. Let's play exploration here. See if my opponent does anything. Nothing. Untap, serve, pump. I guess we're just gonna plow here. They counterspell the plow. Well, I'm okay with that. So I guess they have another counterspell in hand. Tormod's Crypt. Not a good draw. Where's Horn of Greed? Where's another white source? The fact that I'm insanely close to losing this game is very embarrassing. It does feel like my opponent just doesn't have a cloak either. Once again, threaten the plow. Okay, that one worked. Feels like we're just both scraping so bad. Bro. Wow. Kind of insane. But opponent, oh my god. I guess I should have fetched. The thing is, I don't really want to fetch because we're in a situation where if my opponent plays another stupid Rudwala, I'm effectively losing a whole turn. Oh no, they found Careful Study, discarding a bunch of squeeze, and they found Survival. Well, that really sucks for me. Get the literal last land in my entire deck. I cannot wait to draw top deck the Ancestor's Chosen. Oh, come on, man. So at least that does a little bit of work in baiting out the Wasteland. I think we're just gonna lose here. I think we're gonna have one more draw step. We're gonna have exactly one more draw step. I mean, I guess I do have to pop here. I cannot allow them to get back the 4 squeeze when I know they have a Mongrel in hand. This also means that they're going to be able to fly through with Wonder, but like my goal is to hardcast this Akroma, I guess, but I'm dead anyway. Take 4. I think this is my opponent just being, like, just needing to play quickly. Can I find a white source? Fact or fiction? I mean, I have to take the land, and I guess I have not seen Mana Leak from them, but I'm going to play around it because I can. They have the counterspell. Okay, cool. Dude, this is so sad. The fact that we lost this game is truly embarrassing. That is insane. Alright, see you in the next round. Okay, gotta brush off that last one. Okay, this is a little bit of a YOLO hand. It has some problems, but it also has some stuff that I like. The stuff that I really like is the fact that I get to go turn 1. Like if I'm playing against a creature deck, I can just go turn 1, tutor for... So I guess it's going to be black-white control. So I'm just going to tutor for, I guess, Scroll Rack? Horn of Greed or Rack? I think I'm going to go for Rack. Because Seal of Cleansing has no targets. I could be playing against a different deck. I could be playing against the worst version of this, the DGA deck. In which case, that would be worse, but... Oh, I should have... Whoops, I should have kept the fetch land. I was thinking, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and like shuffle, you know, but it's much better for me to like untap, get all of these lands out of my hand and just draw a bunch of cards on the shuffle. Like that was just a brain fart. I'm starting to believe that this deck maybe wants to be playing 2 copies of Scroll Rack. Like I have found multiple instances where I have wished that I had access to this card. Please don't disenchant me. Ugh, that sucks. Okay, so there go 2 lands. Perfect. Okay, play Paradise, and I guess I'll just pass. So far this could be either Death Gael or Black-White Control. Ugh, they even have the Disenchant. Well, there's no reason to just do this here, so I'll just pass the turn. So this has been a disaster. Like, my opponent has 2-for-1 me 3 times so far. And yeah, This is not looking great. It's gonna play out this Oath of Druids and pass the turn. Just because if I have cards in my deck, in my hand, like they can just get Jira's Verdicted, so this at least slows my opponent down a little bit. Oh my god, this is miserable. Get me out of there. Get me out of here. Okay, so we are playing against black-white. Jira's Verdict here would be an absolute nightmare. Vindicate. Interesting that they cared about the Oath. If I were my opponent, I feel like I would have just fired that off on my probably Undiscovered Paradise, I guess. Unless they're trying to like play an Angel right now. In which case, I guess sure. Any land, please? This doesn't fetch anything. Dude, like, this deck has not... I think I'm just gonna pack it in. Like, I'm just way too deflated here. I'm just going to move on to the next game. Dude, wow. I have no fetchables for this Windswept Heath. Okay, I've seen enough. I'm just gonna go to the next game. I don't want to play this game anymore. Alright, so... playing against black-white. The Oath package is not where I want to be. I'd rather have Meddling Mages, Nefarious Response, Phyrexian Furnace. And I don't love the Swords to Plowshares, but I guess they're just better than the alternative. So yeah, we're gonna go with this. This deck does not like me. I'm gonna be on the play here. Sure, keep this. Okay, this hand is a little bit more functional. It is a little bit on the awkward side of things because of the Treva's runes here, but everything else seems fine. Also, turn 1 basic planes is a good thing for us. Cycle Secluded Step. I'm not a fan of cycle lands in the black-white deck. I feel like they're a little bit awkward. This is a very nice Verdict here. Lines up very well. Would love to find like a white source that doesn't force me to bounce my land. Yeah, that kind of sucks, but I guess we're just going to do that. We're going to hope that my opponent vindicates me. The rest sucks for us. Just going to take our Gush. Now they know about the response too. There goes the Gush. Not in the best shape here. Replay the land and say go. We want to make sure that we are the very first ones to draw a card. That's why I'm not playing the Horn of Greed. My opponent's also very unlikely to be missing land drops because of the Eternal Dragon, so untap. It's going to play a Meddling Mage, just named Vindicate. I think it's possible they may have cut some amount of Swords to Plowshares. So opponent's hand is 2 planes, 1 planes now, and some other stuff. Another Duress is brutal, so that takes care of the Horn, I assume. Or if they have an Angel, that's gonna take care of the Swords to Plowshares. There goes the Horn. Oh, that's right, I have a Ray of Revelation, which has no targets whatsoever. That's hilarious. I guess I should have just left the Shard Phoenix just to deal with Decree tokens. I'm just thinking about this now. That's better than this stupid Ray of Revelation that has no legal targets. Opponent draws 3 with Skeletal Scrying. It's pretty good. This is another match where if this had been Sylvan Library, we would have been in dramatically better shape. I mean, the fact that my opponent just has, is drawing so many cards. They drew 3 Duresses in the top 19 cards. Obviously, this is also quite bad for me. I now have no answers to an Eternal Dragon or an Angel. Doesn't really do anything. But I also don't have Horn of Greed, so there's no real reason for me to hold on to lands. Gorak is a reason to do that, so maybe I should have held on to that one. Not even sure, honestly. Got no hand. Sure, play that out. Doesn't do anything. I mean, we could technically draw a Gush here, and then we could be right back in it. Opponent's finally returning the dragon here. Aura of Silence. Perfect. Holding land for... as I just said, scroll rack purposes. It's just so bad to hold lands against this deck though. I'm just giving targets to Jira's Verdict. I'm just in very rough shape here. Okay, so we're gonna name Eternal Dragon, because we cannot beat that. My opponent could have Decree too. This is starting to feel like a worse version of Rich's deck. I thought that the whole Exploration Horn of Greed was an angle that I didn't want to lean too hard onto, but after playing some matches with the deck, it's starting to feel like if you're not going to be leaning on that, then you should just not be playing the deck. so yeah, things you learn by playing the games, right? That's how that works. Opponent just keeps on cycling dragons, we keep on drawing blanks, all around fun stuff. And I think if they have another Jira's Verdict, I'm just happy to just concede to that. So I feel like the only way I can actually win this game is if I draw and I get to play Scroll Rack and I actually just draw some actual cards here. Gaia's Blessing would also be a fine draw so that I can get back some Gushes and Horn of Greed back into the deck. Well, there we go. So now Scroll Rack doesn't do anything again. Play the Angel. We actually cannot afford to trade here even, because we cannot beat the dragons. Yeah, I think I'm just happy to concede here. Like, this is gonna go for a while longer, but like I'm just over this. Round number 4. This hand's a little bit short on the lands department, so we're gonna ship it. This one is better, I guess. Skip this and we're going to send back the land? I guess so. Maybe I should be sending back the Time Warp, honestly. Treetop. I think we're just gonna play this Oath of Druids here. No idea what my opponent's up to over there. Treetop Village could be many decks, but you know, it could also, okay, yeah, I was gonna say it could be the Rock, so I definitely don't want to have 2 Oath of Druids in the face of the Rock. Okay, so let's play out the Exploration and let's regret wholeheartedly the fact that we we bottomed the land. Yeah, time to leave the rest there. Gonna take that Factor Fiction. We're probably gonna be just hanging out here for a couple of turns. Oh yes, the perfect draw. On the plus side, now if we find Scroll Rack, we're probably in business. That's Cabal Therapy. Now they get to know that I drew one of the worst cards in my deck. Interesting that they would take the Time Warp there. I don't see why they would do that. Like, they can't do anything until they... I guess they can just play like a wall and then just sack to Therapy. That's probably fine. But yeah, now they have to answer the Oath in play and the Oath in my hand. Yeah, so this deck is just not coming together, huh? I'm starting to feel like this deck is just not it, you know? Yeah, with my Elder. So I guess now they're gonna take the Oath. It's also possible that this deck just hates me. They take Chosen? That's very confusing to me. Great. So we draw Swords to Plowshares now. And we keep on passing the turn, doing absolutely nothing. Oh yeah. Treetop starting to feel frisky. I would love if I could find the White Source. Ugh, I guess I'm gonna pass the turn back. Holding the land because, I mean, my opponent can't take it from my hand. We already have an Exploration here. So playing the extra land is not gonna be a problem. And we could, again, like, I'm trying to play into the possibility of drawing Scroll Rack or the Horn of Greed. That's finally a card that we can draw. Perfect. Magnificent. Yeah, okay, so this deck is just trolling me now. This is hilarious. This deck is just totally trolling me. Duress takes the Enlightened Tutor. I mean, my opponent should just get in there. I love that I can't even threaten to block. Obviously, it's gonna eat a removal spell, so it's not really gonna achieve anything, but like, this is just embarrassing. To be fair, I do feel like I'm getting just outrageously unlucky, right? This is kind of ridiculous. Like, we drew the Gush, there was a little bit of hope there, and then, like, this is just absolutely disastrous. Like, my deck is just not delivering the goods at all. It's just literally just giving me it. Dude, this is incredible. To be fair, we do have like a decent amount of bad draws. The fact that we're seeing 100% of them, it's kind of brutal. Yeah, I guess it is what it is. Please, something. Oh my god. Like, I'm literally dead next turn. Opponent Therapies. They name Swords to Plowshares. Very good play from my opponent there. Like, they don't care about any of the cards in my hand, so the only card that they care is about Swords to Plowshares, and I just happened to draw it. I just never found the White Swords, of course. Very tight play by my opponent there. That is a well-played Cabal Therapy. You know, just name the card that beats you. Don't just, you know, name a card that you know is in your opponent's hand, but like, their cards are not really doing anything. It's just mocking me here. This is just mocking me. Alright, so that was terrible. I think I want Furnace, probably want a Chroma, and I may want the Fairy's Response. Maybe. Don't think I want Foil, probably need Wrath of God. And we're definitely in the Oath plan, even though it just didn't work right there. I think I want to cut down an Exploration. All of these cards that just get swept away by Pernicious Deed I'm not super interested in. I could consider bringing in Annuls, so I guess I can cut, like, Annuls is just better than Cleansing. I know that I can tutor for the Seal of Cleansing. I may get punished for the, yeah, I guess I may get punished for this. Let's actually do the opposite. Yeah, let's go with this. Yep, I'm gonna keep this hand, I guess. I'm gonna go with this, Functional Mana. It's also giving me the option, right? Do you want to cast your spells, or do you care to gush? Yeah, honestly, this deck may just be way too clunky. I am thinking about all this stuff though, right? Like as the games progress, I am the fact that I drew Mana Leak means I don't want to cast the Oath there, but I am thinking about all this stuff as the game progresses, and I am learning from what I'm seeing here. Yeah, definitely Mana Leak that. So I would definitely build this deck differently given the chance. This is interesting. I do have some options, so I guess I'm gonna play out the Oath. I guess I'm going to play City of Brass. This allows me to either Source to Plowshares or Tutor. It opens me up to get Gushed though. There's the Deed. So we're just going to Tutor for Seal, which honestly sucks, but it is what it is. Play a land, play Seal, and get rid of that Deed. So this does slow my opponent down pretty considerably. No attacks, huh? It's not bad. So let's fetch. We have to fetch because I'm gushing here. We're going to gush, see what we draw. That's interesting. Let's play Scroll, Rack, and pass the turn back. So now we can rack things back. We can counter spell, which is also very nice. Yeah, Maya Elder. I feel like I just counter this. It does give it's basically a draw 3, which currently it could matter. So here I'm just gonna rack just to gather more information. So I'm gonna rack for the full amount. Okay, so we actually do get to shuffle some stuff back. So we're going to draw the counter spell and leave the Source to Plowshares on top. Play a land and send the turn back. So here we actually get a lot of options. If my opponent threatens to attack with Treetop Village, we can draw the Source to Plowshares. They just pass the turn. I think I still want to draw the Swords. Play the land and say go. Could have attacked there, but that taps me out, so I'm not super stoked about it. There's a land on top of the deck, so I guess I don't want to draw that. I think I'm just going to fetch there and just once again rack for the full amount. Okay, so there's another Oath, which I don't care about. Yeah, we're just gonna draw the counterspell again. We did find another Shuffler, which is nice. Play out Furnace. And one thing we can do here is we can bring just draw the Source to Plowshares, naturalize the Oath. Yeah, that's fine. Totally fine. Well of Blossoms. No Cabal Therapy is a big deal, though. Now, if they do have a Cabal Therapy, that would be pretty annoying. So I probably need to Source to Plowshares the Well of Blossoms in response. Another Deed. This one we're just going to counter. And then we can rack. Draw this. No, because now I actually want to play the Oath of Druid. So I guess we're not going to rack here. Just draw the Paradise. Play another Oath. Might as well just activate this Furnace right now. Deed. Ugh, damn it. So we know there's an Oath on top of the deck. Man, Deed number 3 in the top 16 cards is truly devastating here. Yuck. Just gonna let that resolve. We know that there's another Oath on top of the deck at least. So let's cycle Furnace, because might as well get rid of the Maya Elder. And so there's something cool that I can do. Like I can tutor on the stack, like put tutor on the stack and then rack to like draw some new cards, like to trade these for other cards. I think I don't want to do that. I think I'm just gonna go for Horn here. So tutor for Horn and then just replay the Undiscovered Paradise and just begin to get this engine going. Unclear whether this is even good, but it is what we got going on. So I'm gonna play another Oath. I don't want to get it duress. And now we're going to begin to play a high resource game now. Hopefully. We did not, by the way, see our opponent hit a land drop this turn, so they drew a land, which was the best possible draw for them. Like from now on, for the rest of the game, lands are going to be the best draws. There's no way they drew another Pernicious Deed, right? Just not a thing. Opponent gets in there with the Treetop. My best draw would be an Exploration. Time Warp. It's not bad, actually. We're gonna take 2 damage here, but that's acceptable, I guess. Gaia's Blessing. Let's draw a card. Blessing the Gush. I guess I want to bless the Time Warp and the Scroll Rack. So just bless those 3, draw a land, which doesn't do anything past the turn. Opponent plays another land. Things starting to get a little bit dicey. Therapy. I have to counterspell this. I don't want to give my opponent the information. And they're for sure naming Source to Plowshares, but this is just heinous here, right? Now we have to Source to Plowshares the stupid wall with the trigger on the stack, just so they can't sag it. Hopefully we're gonna get a nice Oath trigger here, but we're forced to do that because otherwise my opponent just names the card. and that's not good for us. I mean, we can technically block this treetop village. It's possible my opponent left removal spells in their deck. Not extremely likely, but very possible. Gonna have to play the forest here just so I can activate the treetop in a painless way. Fact or fiction, not bad. Exploration, perfect. Possibly the best draw right there. Send the turn back. Wall of Blossoms. So now they can flashback the therapy and they will know that I have the FOF. But I'm not gonna FOF in response because I kind of need to threaten the treetop activation. I can't do both things here because if I do and my opponent has a removal spell, I just die. So that's not great. They named Mana Leak. Notably, my opponent cannot play a green spell this turn. Otherwise, their treetop just gets... They cannot activate treetop. And I get to resolve a FOF. Of course, Pernicious Deed number 3. So I'm just going to... They cannot activate treetop here, so I'm just going to factor fiction in response. Great. I mean, I think I'm taking Time Warp here. There's the possibility, like, they're just going to blow this up right now. So having all of these lands in my hand doesn't really benefit me. I already have 3 lands in hand, so I'm just going to take Time Warp here, which is a pretty bad Explore. But pretty bad Explore is better than the alternative. Yeah, 4 Deeds in the top, 24 cards. Not great for us. It's not a terrible draw, I guess. It's Time Warp here. Something good. Just an island. Yeah, this is not looking great. This is not looking great. Notably, we can bring back the Shard Phoenix if we really want to. It's gonna be painful, but it's a play that's available to us. I'm gonna attempt to block here. And if my opponent has a removal spell, we're probably just going to lose. Okay, they still have enough to cast a Deranged Hermit or a Baloth or whatever. Going down to 2. Blastoderm. We could draw a 4... Perfect. I was thinking we could draw the 7 mana 4/4, but that was not the case. And now we're officially dead. Round number 5. We're hoping to salvage, 3-3 record. That's what we're aiming for. This hand is actually kind of nice. So we get to go turn 1 exploration into Flooded Strand to fetch our basic plains. That finds us the Horn. And then we actually get the engine going as early as turn 2. Basic Plains, Savannah Lions. Okay, we may need to reconsider and go get Oath instead. But this start is happening regardless. We can just take the risk, honestly. We're gonna draw a lot of cards. So I can take like 3 hits from this Savannah Lions while I put together my engine. I guess we'll have to see what my opponent does. Like if they play Meddling Mage on Oath on turn 2, then our play is going to be pretty obvious. But drawing Gush is not terrible there. We're gonna play the plains because we want to make sure that Undiscovered Paradise would be going back to my hand, so I want to make sure that I am playing the Horn and then immediately afterwards playing a land. That land we play can be an Undiscovered Paradise. But now we can also just Gush. Ramosian Sergeant and nothing else. Yeah, I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna go for a Horn here. I'm going to go for the Horn of Greed. There's the Horn. Play it. And I guess we're just gonna play Flooded Strand. I don't think I want to bounce to the Paradise on end step. Also, I don't really want to expose myself to Wasteland, which is pretty likely that my opponent's playing over there. This means that if I top deck exactly Source to Plowshares, I cannot play it, which sucks a little bit, but I think this is better. Reshatter and Port. A little bit annoying there. Okay, opponent more interested in porting than doing Ramosian Sergeant stuff, which makes sense. Gonna be taking 3 this turn. I imagine no other 1-drop because my opponent only deployed 1 land drop last turn. 1 drop, I mean. Okay, so I guess they top deck that. They would have deployed it last turn otherwise. Funnily enough, we could potentially cast the Phoenix if we happen to draw it, which is funny. So we're going to be taking yet another hit, this time for 5. You know, we are getting to the point where Oath may be a little bit too slow here. Port the green source makes sense. They're afraid of Oath of Druids, understandably so. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna play Treetop Village, Counterspell. It's not awful. I mean, this 4/4 is just going to effectively blank their entire board, so they're gonna have to start activating Sergeant if I cast that. Having Counterspell is also nice here. Take 5 down to 8, then down to 7. Glow Rider. Yeah, we're gonna counter that one. That one's getting countered. Glow Rider down. Untap. We're gonna get gain 5 life here, which is not terrible. I guess we can gain 2 more thanks to Gush. The engine is really doing some work this game, but notably just my opponent's kind of not doing anything. I think we're going to start by gushing, because we can just draw a Wrath, and then that would get rid of all of our problems. Another Exploration's not terrible at all. Woo, baby. I imagine that's gonna be game. Play land, draw a card, play land, draw a card, play land, draw a card. We drew literally everything. So we're gonna cast Shard Phoenix, cast Oath, and pass the turn. I guess this play is actually weird because my opponent could have the card that grants all creatures protection from any color. So maybe I should have cast Wrath instead. I forget the name of the card. Reverent Mantra. So if they go something like Crusade or like Glorious Anthem, whatever, into Mantra, then I can actually lose this game. So I think I should have actually Wrathed. So we're going to block there, and obviously we're just going to sacrifice the Phoenix. But I want to make sure that it's blocked because of the Mantra. At least I save 2 life. Opponent gets to draw a card. Just going to casually draw 6 cards next turn. If my opponent doesn't interact with my horns. Well, that's messed up. I guess I'm going to keep my island here. So they keep the plains. I'm going to keep an Oath, keep the horn. And I guess I'm just going to keep the Undiscovered Paradise. And that's so bad in the face of... Gosh, but like my explorations are going to be gone. This is so bad in the face of Wasteland though. I think I'm just going to... Oh man, like this is so tricky. Yeah, I guess I'm going to keep the island. I'm a coward. Okay, that was a good Cataclysm. We're going to get to draw a lot of cards, so that part is nice. Fine draw. Another fine draw. Okay, we may be fine here. Also, my opponent's missing land drops over there, so I feel like we're going to recover faster than they are. Play Paradise, draw another land. So now Wrath is available to us. My best draw is probably another Exploration. Kind of need a shuffle effect here. Play out Scroll Rack, ship the turn, untap. I don't think I want to use the rack there. Got a pretty healthy amount of gushes. Now we're going to rack for... I put a missing land drops. Feeling okay about this. I think I'm just going to rack for everything. There's the Blessing. There's Mana Leak. Yeah, we're just cooking here. We don't have any more fetchables with this Windswept Heath, which is quite unfortunate. We have access to everything that we can want. I don't think I'm willing to just discard this Windswept Heath though. So there's a Gush on top, but I don't think I'm lacking in that department. So I guess I'm just gonna Blessing back the Shard Phoenix. I guess I can just Blessing back the Treetops. Actually, I really want Exploration, so let's Blessing back 2 Explorations and a basic Forest, so I have a fetchable for this Windswept Heath. Floated Strand doesn't really do anything. That's fine. There's a Wrath. We can discard, I guess, Flooded Strand. Curse Scroll. Opponent discard is Sphere Resistance. Yeah, wow. Main deck Glow Rider and Sphere of Resistance. That's pretty sexy. Alright. I respect what you got going over there, opponent. Good stuff. So we have already shuffled the deck, so I don't think I want to do anything here. Let's play our land. Seal of Cleansing. Okay, so let's rack for a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I think I'm gonna rack away the Cleansing as well. Did not draw our basic, that's cool. Still no Exploration, however. Get our basic Forest. Just gonna Time Warp here. Play another land. Still no Exploration. So rack. All of these card advantage can go. Removal spells too. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now we're cooking. Play Exploration. Play Paradise. Redraw the Swords to Plowshares. Play another Exploration. Play another land. And now we have Counterspell. Now we kind of have everything going on. So let's fetch here, and we're just going to, I guess, Factor Fiction on end step. I think I'm just going to be hard casting these Ancestors Chosen. Funnily enough. Just gain a bunch of life. Opponent goes to cleanup. Paradise to draw a card. Let's actually start there. It's just more fun this way. I think we are going to be able to just draw our entire deck here. Or get pretty close to it. So now we're gonna cast Chosen, gain a lot of life, and send the turn back. I guess I could have cast another Exploration, might as well. Pitch that, just a bunch of things. Opponent gets an Oath trigger. Oathing into Glow Rider would be hilarious here. Oh, look, actually that's one of... we actually have to kill that one. Well, I guess we don't really need to. We just play through it fairly easily. And because of the Oath, my opponent can't really play anything. Gotta draw some Treetop Villages here. And yeah, with 4 Swords to Plowshares, I think we're gonna be fine. Oh, the Treetops are in my graveyard. Whoops, my bad. Because of Scroll Rack, we actually cannot deck here. Would want to draw some... Okay, there's the Blessing. Alright, so put all the Swords to Plowshares and those on top. This is fun. Solitary Champion. So play Paradise, play the 3rd Exploration, play Treva's, bounce Forest, replay Forest, draw another card, play City of Brass, Blessing, Gaia's Blessing, Time Warp, and I guess Treetop Village. So now thanks to Scroll Rack, we just get to draw 7. So we swing here, we get to draw 7, find our Time Warp, cast it, and we just got this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put all of these back in the deck. Time Warp. Now we also have double counterspell plus foil. So pass the turn. Source to Plowshares. Yeah, I guess I mana leak this. Yeah, okay, opponent just backs it in. So this is just, we just take infinite turns and we just, you know, attack my opponent with this, and starting next turn we're gonna start swinging with Treetop Villages too. Okay, so we finally assembled the ultimate the ultimate spot that we were looking for, and it was just as exciting as advertised, so that was cool. So we definitely want the first response against the port deck. I also maybe want Disenchant ? Disenchant better than Ray of Revelation is the question. I don't think this is a Meddling Mage deck. Megan matchup, sorry. Don't think this is a Fairness matchup. Disenchant over Ray. We saw Cursed Totem. Not Cursed Totem, Cursed Scroll. It's got foil. I think I don't want the Disenchant. Definitely want all the cards to not die early. And yeah, I think we're gonna cut an exploration. I feel like this deck has one too many explorations. I feel like 2 is the sweet spot for this deck. So I already know like a bunch of changes that I would make to the deck list. I would cut 1 Windswept Heath, probably add a second basic plains. I would cut the 3rd exploration, probably add a Horn of Reed or a Sylvan Library, one of those. Yeah, just a bunch of things. That's a hand. I mean, this hand is pretty good if I get to find another land. I guess I'll keep it. It's a little bit risky for sure, but it has a lot of the stuff that we're looking for. Okay, that's pretty hot. Exploration, land, pass. Definitely looking for a blue source. That would be priority number 1. City of Traders. Turn 2 Glow Rider. Okay, can we find a land? Ugh. Arr. Arr. Glow Rider. Meddling Kid. So I guess we're in a spot where if my opponent like plays if they have a Disenchant, we're probably dead. But if they don't, and we find a land right here, that's not a land. Okay, so now we're actually just dead on board, right? So this is gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, that's enough. Rishat and Porges gets me here. Okay, I mean, we knew that was part of the risk, but yeah, I think this is fine. This is a fine setup. Turn 2 Glow Rider, huh? Strong stuff. So this is one of the things that I was actually considering, is the fact that just having a singleton Mox Diamond can allow me to tutor for a Mox, for a mana source if I need it. But I think I'm still keeping this though. We have to find a green source in the top many cards, because we're gonna get to use Scroll Rack to dig very deep. We also have the Plow. Yeah, we probably have to plow that one. Ooh, that's sexy. I'm still gonna deploy Scroll Rack here, but that's a fine card to have access to. We're definitely going to be digging for a land. Please play out a port and port me on upkeep. I dare you, opponent. I dare you to port me on upkeep. Oh, please tell me this is happening. Please, please, please tell me this is happening. Let's do this. Let's do this. Oh my god. No! My opponent did not port me. Sadness to the extreme. Oh, they're going to port me now. Woo, baby. Thank you. You love to see it. You love to see it. Excuse me, I would like to destroy your land and like completely obliterate you. Thank you very much. Tarmogon Script is actually kind of annoying here. I guess we just do this for the full amount. Okay, finally we find the green source. So what do we want to redraw? Probably the counter spell. So let's redraw the counter, play Treetop, pass the turn back. No reason to do anything here yet. We have 2 oaths on top. There's an oath, send the turn back. So opponent's gonna be able to like use Tarmogon Script, and it's gonna be quite annoying, but that's fine. We're gonna get a 4/4. Notably, our Phoenix is not gonna get exiled because smartly we have drawn it. Yeah, I think I'd rather just go get... Okay, let's see what got exiled. The Horn is gone. Oh, there's a Blessing there. That's pretty annoying. That's super annoying, actually. Okay. Horn of Greed also is gone. Treetop Village. Oh, I guess I should have used the mana to rack. Okay, never mind. I very smartly drew a City of Brass. 2 mana for Seal. I think that's fine. Hey, they can blow up the Oath, but like I already have a first striking 4/4 in play. And I can just cast this Shard Phoenix whenever I want to. It actually matters how many basics got exiled here. Looks like no forest. We actually do not have the loop anymore though, so that's kind of a problem. The Ferris responses are also gone. Lands and swords. I'm taking the top pile here. Yeah, I'm taking the top pile. We do get to start attacking with the treetop village, which is nice. Play with a forest. This deck takes forever to win. It's kind of impressive how slowly it wins. Yeah. Here's a treetop. Swing for 7. Opponent takes the chump, hoping to get something better. Still get to get in there for 3. It would be hilarious if they get like a Soltari guy, like the shadow guy, because that means they can't block, which would be very funny. But now my blessing loop has now been messed with, so I actually cannot do that anymore. Awkwardly enough, now that the fairy's responses are gone, I cannot really mess with the port either, which is quite frustrating. So this game is actually going to be quite slow to end. My opponent's just going to chump block forever, but I guess that's fine. Eventually they're going to run out of cards and or time. Alternatively, I can just blow up my own oath. My opponent should have ported my city, by the way, just to deal me a point. You have Shroud. Whoops. a little bit of an elbow there. No oath triggers for you, my friend. That's pretty funny. Going to rack for a bunch of cards. Okay, so that's cool. Blow up the rack. Totally fine. I guess I just FOF because I know the blessing is on top, and I'm just going to pick whichever. Like the best split for my opponent here is 5-0, and then that would force me into a situation where I have to pick the 0 pile, which I'm totally okay with. I think that I'm extremely far ahead here. Oh, okay, that sucks. Yeah, that actually sucks, because that forces me to shuffle now. I'm surprised they kept Swords to Plowshares. Second treetop is very nice though. I think that I'm gonna keep whichever pile the second treetop is in. Kind of allow me to speed up the clock. Keeping the Malik's also pretty nice, but untap, play the treetop, play Exploration, play Paradise, play the Seal, and get in there for 7. Maybe I should have let the Swords to Plowshares resolve, but then we end up in a situation, like I didn't know that I was going to find the other treetop, and then we would end up in a situation where we just cannot really do anything. There we go. Okay, that's the best case scenario for me. So now my opponent can't actually block my dude, and they cannot trigger Oath anymore. So unless they have second Swords to Plowshares, this should be fairly easy here. Oath, I think I'm going to decline. Good draw. Gonna suit up the treetops. Swing for 10. Opponent takes 6 chump blocks. We have mana leak. I think this one we're gonna get there, folks. But yeah, I don't want to actually get a Phoenix in play because my opponent can then chump block, and then we're in a spot where we go back. Like, this is a much more profitable spot for me because if I crack the Phoenix, then my opponent doesn't need to chump. They are gonna start getting triggers again. So I'm very interested in my opponent having this Soltari champion in play. So that happens. We untap. Another decline trigger. Okay, Time Warp. Should close this one out. I'm definitely interested in attacking. And if I have a fetchable island, then we should be good to go. So this is 4. We have 8 total lands in the deck. There's 1, 2, 3. So I guess I have exactly 1 more fetchable. So this should lock things out. Time Warp myself. And GG's. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, got there. 2 and 3. The 3-3 dream is still alive. Last match of this series. Once again, a one-lander. Been getting a healthy amount of one-landers. 25 lands is a decent amount. Okay, this one's fine. What do we want to do here? I think I bottom the Gush. Blessing's not great. Opponent fetches. See what they're up to. Blue-white. Sabos Web. Should we just back it in right here? Do we just concede right now? Can we just concede the game? I love that there's exactly two cards in my entire deck that get got by Sabos Web. This is one of them. Truly remarkable. Truly remarkable stuff. All right, we play on. We play on. Parallax Tide. Pretty good. At least we can play a couple of fetches here, which plays around this fairly effectively. Issue right now, however, is the fact that if my opponent has... I mean, if they gotta replenish, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So we're just gonna do that there. Very effectively minimizing the effect of this Parallax Tide, which is nice. So now we have a surprise counterspell. It's pretty cool. Opponent seems to be on probably classic replenish. So we're just gonna Ray here. Ray the one with the most counters. They're gonna reset their lands. It's totally fine. Opponent just passes the turn. Cool. Play another land. We're just going to hold up counterspell / factor fiction here. I mean, this tide is fading. Second wave is fine. First one's doing enough work already. Okay, fetch, go get a forest. Here's a Factor Fiction. Okay, it's an interesting FOF. So it's unlikely this Oath of Druids is gonna do anything. So that's already a blank. We can do some racking of scrolls, and we're definitely interested in hitting our land drop. We can use a defensive blessing too, which is nice. Guess I'm still choosing the second pile. Mana Leak is pretty valuable, I think, even in the face of the Ancient Tomb. Play an island, say go. So what I want to try to set up is a situation where I can, like, my opponent's tide goes away next turn, and then I can Gaia's Blessing both of my opponent's tides back into their deck. So that would be nice. I also get to gush, which is cool. I think I'm gonna use this turn to play out the rack, since I know this Parallax Tide is coming back. The lands from this Parallax Tide is what I mean. But now we have exactly enough mana to counterspell plus Mana Leak, which is cool. It's at least nice that Parallax Wave doesn't really do anything. Opalescence, that's fine. So what we can do here is we can Ray of Revelation the Opalescence on end step, and then we Gaia's Blessing. Interesting. I don't think I can afford to do that quite yet, unfortunately. So we are gonna Blessing here. It's a good one. Pretty good one. So let's rack these, I guess, 4 cards. No land. Brutal. Okay, so we can steal Exploration into Gush, which is nice. So let's do that. We can draw second Gush and Horn of Greed. So Gush, floating blue, play land, play Exploration, play second land, pass the turn. So here we can still foil, which is nice. Opponent doesn't do anything, which is cool. I appreciate the opponent not doing anything there. So what here? We know there's no land on top, but we can still cast Horn of Greed, play and discover Paradise, draw a card, and let's Gush, replay a land. So now we have Mana Leak plus Counterspell up, which is cool. So we get rid of Oath of Druids and Wrath of God, as well as Street of Village. Guess I don't need the Factor Fiction anymore. Parallax Wave resolves. Untap. Play a land and draw. Play a land and draw. I guess I might as well Tom Warp here. Send turn back. Untap. Play a land and draw. Fetch. Play a land and draw. Okay, do I actually need to cast this? I think I'm just gonna spend this turn to cast the Oath. Pass the turn again. So the end game here is going to be the fact that I can't lose, and we're gonna have enough counter magic to get rid of all of my opponent's relevant spells, while not deck because of Scroll Rack, and then Intuition. Yeah, that's fine. Attunement is fine. I'm also gonna let that Attunement resolve. I don't think I care about it. Opponent's going for it. Funnily enough, this Sabos Web is what's preventing me from winning. Scored a bunch of lands. Untap. Here's a Shard Phoenix. We still have double counterspell here. Man, this Sabos Web. Jesus. Maybe I should have returned both Undiscovered Paradises last turn. If my opponent exiles my Phoenix with the wave, I just let it resolve and don't care about it. If they plow it, obviously I sack, but this Intuition once again gonna resolve. I mean, if they can beat double counterspell, we may actually lose this one. Guess it's all up to if my opponent has another Ancient Tomb. I'm gonna give my opponent the Opalescence, I think. Because Opalescence is the only one we can actually just allow to resolve. Oath trigger on the stack. My opponent can mill their entire deck if they want to. It's pretty cool. Maybe I needed just 2 more land drops in order to do Shard Phoenix stuff. Because now my opponent can triple replenish. Opalescence is fine. Oh, that messes with it with the Exploration. That sucks. That's pretty annoying actually. So can't have creatures anymore. Replenish. That one we actually have to counter. Really punished by our Oath package here. Obviously this is a matchup that Oath doesn't really do anything in. And all of these Swords to Plowshares are also pretty dead. But that's why we have the Melee Mage pivot plan in the sideboard, right? To be able to circumvent this nonsense. Attunement. I think I'm just gonna let that resolve. It would allow me to catch something with this stupid Mana Leak, but I think that it's better to just use my mana to rack here. So we're gonna rack for 3, I guess, including the foil. Ugh, that sucks. Untap. Tutor for Seal. We're going to play our land for turn, draw the Seal, blow up the Opalescence. Opponent can't save it. We shuffle the deck now, which is nice. We get to cast another Exploration and play Undiscovered Paradise. Pretty good draw. Pass the turn back. Opponent's down to 10. Replenish. I say no. That's Replenish number 2. Attunement. Leaving some lands and some frantic searches. Recast the attunement, that's fine. Immediately pop it. Okay. I mean, they can't cast anything else this turn. Intuition, Waves, Swords to Plowshares, just a bunch of cards that don't really do anything. Parallax Tide. Well, this is good. Good to cash in that mana leak. Cool, cool, cool. Love that. We're going to untap here. Don't want to bounce the lands because we already have the Gush. So we have exactly one more fetchable. So let's Gush first. We can, even if we draw it, we're fine. Like we can just find it again. Play land, play another land. Boom, counterspell. So let's, actually we have mana floating. So let's rack right now. Return all of these cards. Okay, we do get to recast this exploration. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna play our land with Horn of, I wanted to Horn of Greed trigger on the stack and then shuffle away, but I guess I was auto-yielded, my bad. Little misstep there. So we do have the next couple of Replenish locked up. I guess I do need to counterspell the Seal of Cleansing, which is very annoying. So I guess if my opponent's hand is Replenish, we can lose. Opalescence. Yeah, I guess I have to let that resolve. What's my plan here? I guess I can keep that at bay thanks to Swords to Plowshares. Opponent correctly leads on exiling their own creature first. So now they're gonna do some wave tricks. Don't really have a way to stop that from happening. I know there's the Swords to Plowshares on top of the deck, but I don't think that really does anything for me. Get the last fetchable, untap. No more explorations is a bit annoying. Let's draw a card. Treva's Runes. We're gonna pass the turn here, and I guess we're gonna take 4. The idea is going to be to rack on end step, try to look for that Gaia's Blessing. Still holding up foil, mana leak. Opponent still has 2 replenishes to cast, which is pretty brutal, honestly. We have used all counter spells. Take 4, another wave. Ugh, but I have to let that resolve. Another wave. Okay, so we're going to, I guess, rack for everything just to kind of stack our deck. Okay, there's the Blessing. So we want to redraw the foil. Everything else is gonna go away. I guess we also kind of want to redraw the Gush. So we're just going to pass the turn. This is our last fetchable. So redraw the Gush, redraw the foil. Blessing, Gaia's Blessing, Seal of Cleansing, and Time Warp. Redraw the Blessing, not bad. So this means we can now go Blessing. Actually, I guess I want to lead on Gush here. This makes it more likely that I can just rack. Oh yeah, we rack for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Guarantees we find a Time Warp. And this is wild. So now, Time Warp. We Blessing. I guess we Seal of Cleansing here. I guess I want to Blessing. Man, this is so complicated. I want to Blessing Time Warp, Blessing, and I guess Exploration. So take a point to do so. So I think this is now deterministic, if I'm not mistaken. I think I have enough damage to do everything. So now we blow up the Opalescence. So we have 9 cards in the deck. Scroll rack for the full amount. I think we may just deck here. We may just time out. So Time Warp myself, Blessing, Seal, another Blessing and Time Warp. And now, yeah, so the idea here is we're just going to be able to like loop everything. And now we start to loop counter spells. So I think that, you know, we can just time out, but this would be just deterministic to lock the game up. I'm explaining to my opponent that I'm just going to be able to loop my deck now indefinitely. I'm going to be able to blow all of my opponent's permanents, and then eventually, including the Savos Web. I mean, not their lands, but you know, like their permanents. I can't whiff because I have the scroll rack. So no idea what happened to the camera, but you know, this is live television, even though it's not. But okay, so Oath of Druids out, Tormod's Crypt, Meddling Mages, Disenchant, Phyrexian Furnace, and Annuls. Wrath of God out, and Swords to Plowshares out as well. I guess I'd rather have Swords than Wrath or Teferi's Response because of the potential of Exalted Angel. I guess Teferi's Response does kind of mess with Parallax Tithe if my opponent doesn't go for the combo. So I guess that makes me incentivized to at least keep the 1 copy. What do we got here? Another classic hand. Yeah, I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to hope that my opponent doesn't have an early web again. Actually, let's just go with this instead. Because now if I find a white source, I get to play Meddling Mage on 2. Oh, seal. So they get to pop, but I do get to get rid of the seal. So that's at least something. Okay, it's not bad. I don't think there's anything encountering on turn 2, but we can if we want to. Yeah, I'm not blowing up a seal. Play a land, say go. Opponent missing some land drops over there. Ship the turn back. Funnily enough, even if we draw blanks for a couple of turns, like going to this card allows me to actually cast this Rare Revelation, which is hilarious. Obviously not gonna play this Exploration in the face of a Seal of Cleansing. Opponent finds their land. I mean, this is what I'm saying, you know, like, the Replenish deck is super mana hungry. You just cannot afford to lose land drops, yet people insist on playing only 24 lands. I'm personally not a fan. Frantic Search resolves. Discarding Opal Wave. Discarding Ray for value there is awesome. Do I counter this? I guess my opponent's missing land drops, so I'm just gonna use an annul. White source, please? No. Well, good thing I guess I used my spell, because I was gonna be discarding it otherwise. 3 mana for Attunement. I think I'm gonna annul this as well. Yeah, this is a pretty frustrating Gush, actually. I guess what I can do is I can just float mana, Gush, and then just redeploy my lands, which I guess I'm going to do. Forces me to spend my Ray of Revelation on the Seal of Cleansing, I guess. This allows me to cast Exploration, replay a land, and cast Scroll Rack right now. Still no white source, a little bit frustrating, but it's okay. My opponent's also struggling on mana over there, so... If this is a seal, I'm not countering this. I feel like this counterspell is way too valuable. End step, shuffle, send away the Teferis response. I guess I can just redraw the Time Warp here. Okay, finally. Okay, so we're gonna go response, tutor, land, Time Warp. Blow up the Exploration. That's annoying, but fine. So now we get to play Treva's Ruins, bounce, island, Time Warp. Send the turn back, play another island, and we're going to Meddling Mage on... I guess I can just pass the turn back with Counterspell up. I think it's better to Meddling Mage. Gonna Meddling Mage, naming Replenish. My opponent can use this turn to wave, potentially, which would be quite annoying. Attunement is fine. And we're gonna be able to start clocking. Replenish can't be cast. Second Mage is gonna name Parallax Wave. It's possible my opponent's playing Swords to Plowshares, which would actually be quite frustrating, but I'm not concerned at all about Exalted Angel, because we have the Swords to Plowshares access. We're going to rack on end step, untap, Meddling Mage with Counterspell backup, Replenish, Arcane Denial, Opalescence, Attunement. Opponent did hit a land drop. Gonna rack for 4. Okay, we're gonna keep Meddling Mage on top. So swing for 2. I think we just rack for 1. I guess let's just rack for 2. Draw the Mage. Name Parallax Wave. Opponent has their own Mage. Horn of Greed is what they name. A good thing we have this Swords to Plowshares card. Tap. Plow the Mage. Arcane Denial. Okay, let's Gush. Draw some cards. And send the turn back. Gonna get to draw some more cards here. Another Meddling Mage is nice. Web is okay. Seal is also fine. Rack on end step, shuffle this stuff away, play Meddling Mage. We're going to name... what can we name here? I guess we name Meddling Mage, because we cannot cast any more. Oh, I messed this up, I don't have double blue. I had to play Flooded Strand. So they're going for Tithe. So we're gonna rack for everything, I guess. Hoping to find the Gush here. Okay, I'm not super scared. We get to shuffle away all the bad cards. A little bit unfortunate that we drew another treetop, but it's fine. Tap, play an island. We get to attack with that Mage, I guess. And the clocking begins, finally, on turn 14. 4 months is not bad. So now it's a matter of clock. That's why I'm not racking, is because the clock matters too much here. Send the turn back, rack some cards, shuffle some cards away, still somehow draw the exact same cards. Orim's Chant, that's cool. Man, this is intense. Still a forest to be fetched here. Taking pile 1, play Heath, get the last forest, Blessing, Time Warp, Fairness, and Gush. Mage gets in there. Oddly enough, I kind of want to draw Swords to Plowshares here. Okay, this is nice. So we can go find our last fetchable. Opponent does finally take the block there. Counterspell, untap, take 6, take 2 I guess, down to 6, take 4 more. Okay. That feels pretty bad. I hope that my opponent gives me the win, because, you know, we kind of got there. I don't know. So my opponent ended up giving me the honorable victory, so shout out to Danny. And yeah, this is a 3-3 result with a deck that did not like me. I do think that I made a couple of mistakes in deck building, which I'm going to be addressing, but it did seem like this deck felt like the kind of deck that is trying to do a lot of many different things, and it's not super great at doing any of them. So let's quickly go through all the stuff that worked and the stuff that didn't work. What did work? I did like a gush a decent amount. It was a little bit clunky in terms of sometimes we had, you know, some awkward mana base issues going on, but it was helped by the fact that our cards were very, very powerful, just pound for pound, which helped a little bit. It did not help the fact that we drew our one-offs a bunch. Like, we actually drew our our creatures for Oath very, very often, but you know, that's kind of rough. The mana base also felt pretty rough. I feel like if I were to try to fix things, one of the things that I wanted to fix is I honestly don't know if we can afford to play Windswept Heath. Like, this was running out of fetchables way too quickly for my tastes, so I don't think I would play 3 copies. I thought that 3 fetchables for 3 fetches was going to be fine. Turns out it's not. So I think I would try to do something like maybe cut all the Heaths, or and like maybe add some Brushlands or something like that. Maybe the way to go about it is to try to, I don't know, like just play the singleton Windswept Heath and play maybe a second basic Plains. Like there's a couple of different ways that we can go about it, but yeah, it was pretty awkward very, very often. So I did not like that part. It turns out that a deck that looks at as many cards as this one, it does end up running out of fetchables very often and fairly quickly. The 3 copies of Exploration felt like at least one too many. It doesn't really feel like the deck needs exploration kind of at all, unless you have Horn of Greed going, and only with a single Horn of Greed, I don't think that exploration is really worth it. It was very, very cool to be able to gush and then immediately just redeploy my lands to just not go down on mana. That part was pretty exciting, but it didn't come up as much for me to want to justify playing 3 copies. I could see going down to 2 for sure, and potentially even down to 1 to make room for more like actually impactful spells. Horn of Greed was good when it was good and just heinous when it was bad. So there's no middle ground with this card. I don't think I want more copies of this. Scroll Rack, on the other hand, felt like it was a little bit too necessary for the deck, at least the way the deck is constructed. So I do feel like I will want a second copy of Scroll Rack. Definitely would want to add a copy of Silver Library somewhere, definitely in the main deck, and I don't know how we make room for that, but I'm interested in doing that as well. I do feel like maybe a 3rd copy of Blessing is necessary in the sideboard. It was a little bit awkward to get our loop stopped by the single Tormod Crypt. Sure, we could have like slowed down and played around it, but like my opponent was actually putting some amount of pressure on me, so like I needed to trigger that Oath, and then you know everything was over after that in terms of like assembling the loop. So that part was kind of awkward. Maybe a 3rd copy would be worth it somewhere. I don't think I can make room for it in the main deck, but also Mana Leak is much worse than Counterspell in a deck that is going as long as this one is. So I think that it should be 4 Counterspells, 1 Mana Leak, maybe like a split like that. I thought that it was going to be more important to make sure that I can cast my leaks on time, but it turns out that it was much more important to make sure that my cards were not dead on turn 12. So this deck goes to the late game a little bit too often for me to be comfortable with Mana Leak, so I would want to play another copy of Counterspell. Another thing that I was thinking is that the fact that we cannot actually make sure that our opponents are not making a million land drops and then setting up a hand that can actually interact and maybe even to the point of nullify what we're doing is a little bit awkward. So maybe playing something like a Parallax Tide could be necessary. I don't think Armageddon is where we want to be, but you know, some kind of effect like that could be something to consider. I don't know, honestly. But yeah, maybe we just cannot afford and we just have to deal with what we have. But yeah, I mean, the deck felt overall just very clunky. Powerful when everything lined up, but I do wonder if this is just a worse version of Rich's deck. Rich's deck is foregoing all of these like things that you know, that draw cards and like the time warps and stuff, and is instead basically base green white, and it actually assembles a lock through Source Worthing. Maybe Source Worthing is the card that this deck needs. I honestly did not even think about that, but Source Wording may be the way to go about it. The problem is Source Wording without something like Words of Worship to actually offset the life loss in a deck like this. At that point, you have maybe a little bit too many cards that you're trying to make work together. I don't know. But yeah, it did feel like it's potentially just like a worse version of Rich's deck, which is obviously not where you want to be. Having access to Meddling Mage in the Cyber was pretty much the best card in the entire deck, as it often is, to be fair. But Meddling Mage did some very, very heavy lifting, especially game 1 and in the very, very last match. So yeah, I do feel like this is not even close to being where I want it to be. Maybe something like Dust Bowl could be interesting now that I think about it. It can give us stuff for like our death fetches, and then it can also provide a way to not just randomly die to manlands. Like honestly, losing to Treat of Village hits by the Rock was a little bit too much to to bear with. So I feel like maybe like a copy or two of Dust Bowl somewhere between the main deck and sideboard could be where we want to be. But yeah, lots of holes in this deck, which is not where you want to be, something that I was super stoked about. So maybe the blue-green version could be better. I could see trying to revisit and just like try to rework specifically within the context of blue-green and try to see what I can come up with. Here I was going straight for the Source to Plowshare Splash, so I could see trying to attack using that angle, but it is true that Horn of Re is a card that requires so much. With that in mind, it's a little bit awkward when you don't have it because you are devoting a bunch of cards solely to the engine, so playing a single copy felt kind of weird. Sure, when we were going off, it was incredible, but like it didn't happen that often. We played 6 matches and it happened, what, like 4 or 5 times at most? That's not enough. And even, you know, against the Rock, we assembled the thing and our opponent just had Pernicious Deed number 4 and everything just ended right there. So, I don't know. Very, very awkward and extremely hard to build deck. So, yeah, I would not recommend it as is, but it was a lot of fun. It was very, very interesting, especially, you know, it forced my opponent and myself to think in ways that I'm not really used to thinking. So that part was pretty exciting. Matches are extremely long, so I definitely do not recommend this for a larger event, but it was fun. I did enjoy it, definitely enjoyable in small doses, so I do recommend that aspect of it. But that's going to be it for me, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit a like and subscribe on the way out. And yeah, long live Premodern, best format ever. See you next video. Bye bye.